Investment happens because we are spending on capital goods. That is investment. In the last class, we talked about interest rates, which is the price of borrowing or saving. It affects investment. Today, we want to talk about economic growth. And when we talk about economic growth, basically we're talking about output, increase in output within the economy. But there are some situations that the economy will not even grow. It will remain the same way. That means, for example, Libya will produce 5 billion of output each year that passes by. So from the last 3 years, for the past 3 years, we've been producing at the same level. That means our output has been the same for the past 3 years. So that means it's constant. If the economy is in a constant rate, we don't need to invest more. The only thing we have to do, because we are using capital goods to produce these goods, so the only thing we need to do is to replace worn out equipment. Because we're using machines. Machines will wear, they will tear. There's depreciation. So because we continue to produce at the same level, we need not to invest more. It is not profitable. It is not ideal. It is not profitable and ideal to produce to increase investment. Rather, you replace worn out equipment so that you can still continue to produce at that same rate. If the equipments are not up to task, they won't be able to give you the same level that they used to give you. So you need to maintain them or you replace them. That is if the economy is constant, if it is fixed. The next one, in contrast, if the economy is expanding, that is economic growth. Yes or no? So if there's growth within the economy, there's need for us to invest more. Why do we have to invest more? Because a growth within the economy means there's increase in aggregate demand. So if aggregate demand increases, then firms will need to produce more to meet up with the demands of customers or consumers. So at this point, we need to increase our investment, not to replace worn-out equipment. We need to increase investment to meet up with the demand. Here, if it is constant, we don't have to increase investment. Rather, we replace worn-out capital goods like equipment or machine. Here, there's expansion. The economy is growing. It's increasing. Output is increasing. Aggregate demand must increase. So if the aggregate demand is increasing, firms will need to meet up with the demand of consumers. How can they do that? They need to invest more in capital goods. So here, we have to invest more. I think it's clear. The third one, if the economy is shrinking, there's economic decline. So if there's economic decline, what happens? At that point in time, output will be less. Yes or no?
Yes.
So if output is less, is there any point to increase investment? No. We don't have to increase investment. Rather, what do? We try to replace worn-out equipment. And we might not even replace worn-out equipment because they're not going to be useful. The equipment are not going to be working the same way they are working. Do you get the point? Here, if it is constant, we replace worn-out equipment. If the economy is growing, we increase investment. If the economy is in decline, we leave the equipment the way they are because the output is low. It is not profitable, it is not ideal, it is not economical to increase investment or to replace worn-out equipment because they are not working here. Do we understand the three situations here? Yes. As a result of these three situations, there's what we call accelerator theory. So the accelerator theory states that investment is linked to income and output. So we wouldn't talk about investment without thinking about income and the output. Income, that means what we are able to get. So if we don't have much money, how do we buy? No, there's no way to buy. Then if we are unable to buy, firms will not be able to sell. So how are they going to increase their investment? So that's why we call it accelerator theory. It states that investment is linked to changes in output and income. So as soon as our output changes, if income increases within the economy, investment will increase. If income falls within the economy, investment will fall, output will fall. Do we understand accelerator theory here? So that brings us to the formula. So investment time period is accelerator coefficient multiplied by changes in the real income over the time period. Where our IT is investment in the time period, YT minus 1 is the change in the real income during the time period. So how as our income changes over the time we're talking about. Then accelerator coefficient, which is the capital output ratio. So what is our capital output ratio? The amount of capital needed to produce a given level of quantity. So we said there's accelerator theory. which means investment is linked to changes in output and income. So if investment is linked to changes in output and income, then there's a capital output ratio. So the capital output ratio is the amount of capital we need to produce a given output. So look at what I did there. So if $10 of capital is needed to produce $2 of goods, $10 of capital is needed to produce $2 of goods. So what is our accelerator coefficient? Our accelerator coefficient will be the $10 capital needed divided by the goods that will be produced with the $10. So our accelerator coefficient is 5. Accelerator coefficient is clear, right? It is 5. Now we said there's always accelerator theory which linked investments with capital ratio, right? So which linked income with our output. So if for this economy, income has increased by 1 billion, for example. So if income has increased, that means there's a change in income within this economy for 1 billion. So what happens to our capital? What happens to our accelerator theory? Our accelerator theory will change from $5 multiplied by 1 billion. So the rate of investment in this economy will be 5 billion. Because we said income is linked to investment. Income is linked to output. So if income is linked to output, now our capital output ratio is $5. And there's a change in income level to 1 billion. So our investment will increase by what? 1 billion multiplied by 5. The capital goods, the capital acceleration theory, the accelerator coefficient is $5. There's a change in the level of income to 1 billion. So what will be investment? Investment is linked to output and income. Yes or no? So if our accelerator coefficient is $5 and income has changed to 1 billion, it means 5 multiplied by 1 billion will give us the investment within that economy. Is it clear? Yes. So this is all about investment linked to economic growth. If the economy is growing, we increase our investment. Please put your hand up, please. If the economy is growing, we increase our investment. If the economy remains constant, we replace worn-out equipment. If the economy is in decline, there's no need to increase investment. There's no need to replace worn-out equipment. As a result, why? Because at that point in time, the output within the economy is low. Is it clear? Yes. Thank you. In the next class, we're going to talk about cost.